Colby, math.com.
Thank you for watching the Halloween special assignment support video. Today in class we practiced estimating with fractions and mixed numbers. And when we estimate with fractions, proper fractions, less than one whole, we either round them to the nearest benchmark, 0, 1/2, or 1. But when we estimate with mixed numbers, we simply just round to the nearest whole. And so we'll practice that on tonight's assignment. When we're adding, subtracting, or multiplying with mixed numbers, we can just round to the nearest whole and then just do that operation. And when we're dividing, we not only round to the nearest whole, but then we consider using compatible numbers to choose dividends and divisors that will give us a nice whole number product that's easy to find. And so on problem number 11, it says Mr. Colby's truck gets 11 5/9 miles per gallon gas mileage. The truck's gas tank holds 17 2/15 gallons of gas. About how far can Mr. Colby drive on a full tank of gas? Whenever you're doing a problem-solving situation like this and you've got mixed numbers, it can sort of make the problem seem much more complicated than it actually is. So I'm going to offer this problem-solving method. It's called solve a simpler problem. Just replace the smaller number with the number 2 and the larger number with the number 10. And then reread that problem. Mr. Colby's truck gets 2 miles per gallon. The truck's tank holds 10 gallons. About how far can Mr. Colby drive on a full tank of gas? That problem is much easier to solve. If the truck gets 2 miles per gallon, so I can drive 2 miles on 1 gallon of gas. If I had 10 gallons, how far could I drive? So if I had another gallon, I could go another 2 miles. And if I had a third gallon, I could go another 2 miles. And so for 3 gallons of gas, I could go 2, 4, 6 miles. And you can use that to figure out what's the operation. You're taking the gas mileage and multiplying it by the number of gallons, 2 times 10 using these simpler numbers to find the total distance that you can drive. But then what you can do is you can substitute the actual numbers, in this case 11 5/9 multiplied by 17 2/15 to solve the harder problem. It's just that you get the hardest part out of the way first, figuring out the operation. In this case, it's multiplication. So we'll then, oops, I dropped my pencil, 1 second. Okay, so now that we know that it's multiplication, we see that we can estimate because it says about how far. And so I can round these mixed numbers to the nearest whole. 5/9 is a little more than half because 4 1/2 is half of 9. And so we can round 11 5/9 to 12. And 2/15 is obviously much closer to 0 than it is to 1. And so we can multiply this other factor. We can just round this other factor to 17. It's closer to 17 wholes than 18 wholes. And so now we can just do this multiplication to get our estimate. 17 multiplied by 12. 2 17s is 34. 17 times 1 is 17, and so we get 204. So this equals 204 miles. Or since it's an estimation problem, even if you said 200 miles, it's a nice round number. Anything real close to 200 miles would be a good estimate for this problem. Okay, the other problem I want to do with you is problem number 12, because here we're estimating quotients, and so we're going to be using compatible numbers. And so let's do problem 12 together. Estimate the following quotients of mixed numbers by rounding each mixed number to the nearest whole, then using compatible numbers. So when you round this dividend and divisor to the nearest whole, they still may not be compatible numbers. So why don't you try rounding these numbers on problem number 12 to the nearest whole, and then see if you can remember what we meant by compatible numbers during the pause. Find the quotient for your estimate, and then come back and see how you did.
Paused.
Okay, 13 and 1/8 is closer to the 13 than 14 because 1/8 is closer to 0 than it is to 1 whole. And our divisor, 6 and 1/5, is closer to 6 than 7. And so when we round each of our dividend and our divisor to the nearest whole, we get 13 divided by 6. But as long as we're doing an estimate, we don't want difficult division like this. We can just adjust either one or both of these slightly in order to get a nice whole number quotient. And so it's easy to change this dividend from 13 to 12 in order to create compatible numbers here, because 12 divided by 6 is 2. So there are approximately 2 6 and 1/5 in 13 and 1/8. Okay, thank you for watching the Halloween special assignment support video. I appreciate your extra effort, and I will see you tomorrow.